Hello, dear students, and welcome to this lecture on how to write poetry by Devargo Ganguly. Now, all my life I have been taught that writing poetry is a very difficult thing. It is very time consuming. You need great forms of art to do this, and blah blah blah. But personally, I think that writing poetry is something which is very easy. And I do not believe that poetry comes naturally to you. For instance, I have never learned how to write poetry, but all my life I have tried to find out how to write poetry. So, this is my findings shared with you. Okay. Now, this is how I have seen poetry and how I have understood poetry, and actually, this is how I began writing poetry. So this was much of like a back calculation which I did, and now you have it. That is, now you have how I write poetry. Okay, so here you go. Let's begin. All right. So, uh, since we are talking about how to write poetry, uh, let me go on to the slides. So first comes step 1. What is step 1? That is, find a subject. Okay, whatever you want to write your poem on, first start with simple things like my school, my childhood, the rainy season, or something like this. That is, which is, go back to your school book of essays, plus 5, 6, or 7 standard essays, and bring out the topics from there. Okay, now start writing your poems based on those topics. That will give you some idea on how to write poems easily. Alright, now we come to the second step. The second step is pretty easy. That is, find 5 to 10 words that you associate with your subject matter. For example, if I take my school, now I have associated these words like tiffin, backbench, friends, games, classes, nostalgia. You can choose anything on the face of this planet that you associate with your school. Alright, so that is a very simple thing to do. Now we come to step 3. Step 3 is very easy, which you have done in your school. That is, write small sentences using simple words, and do not use more than 5 or 7 words, because then your poem becomes very bulky. Initially you have to learn it, and then only you can finally understand that how to write about it, right? So first begin with examples, like, since we have chosen our school and we have chosen these words like tiffin, backbench, friends, games, classes, nostalgia, and so on and so forth. So I have written these sentences. Sharing tiffin made bonds stronger. Then for backbench I have written making memories at the backbench. For friend I have written friends who stand by you throughout your life. For games I have written games built mutual trust. For classes I have written we learned about the world in the classes. And finally nostalgia, thy name is school. Thy means your. Okay, so nostalgia, your name is school. Because we feel very nostalgic when we think back about our school days, all the fun that we had. Now you can write very different sentences, you can write very different issues that you associate with your school. Say somebody got suspended from their school, so maybe they have remembered that suspension. Say somebody did something very naughty in the school, so they can write about that event of being naughty. Say somebody stood first in school, so that person can write about that as well. So you can write ample things, and that's where your poem will be different from my poem. And that's what creative writing is about. It's about your own experiences written down, penned down in your own way. Now we come to step 4, which is reorder the sentences in a way they make sense. For instance, In poems we often see that, say I am saying, much have I seen in my travels, or I can write I have seen much in my travels. Now usually in prose I would write I have seen much in my travels, but in poem I would write much have I seen in my travels. So there is this small difference, and it is this small difference which makes a huge deal. So you will have to try to make out how the sentence is sounding to you. Which one is sounding more beautiful? You use that one. Then keep the entire section in one tense if possible. Because usually what happens is, since you are writing 5 different sentences, or 7 different sentences, or 10 different sentences, you might write those sentences in different tenses. Then what happens is that when you go on joining them together, then they stop making sense because of the difference in tenses. So bring them to one tense if possible. Say if you are writing in the past tense, keep it in the past tense. If you are writing in the present tense, try to keep it in the present tense. Similarly, now transform your sentences if you want them to rhyme. Now often students love to create end rhyming, but there is no steadfast and hard rule of poems that they have to rhyme. Okay, like we have a poem by Gwendolyn Brooks called We Are Seven, which rhymes very beautifully but very weirdly. Go on and look it up in the internet. Then there are poems like say Robert Browning's My Last Duchess, which actually rhymes, but when you read it, it doesn't rhyme. Then there are prose poems as well. So a poem does not always have to rhyme, but if you want to rhyme them, that is end rhyming, then you will have to create your own rhyming by reordering the sentences, by changing things with synonyms, or an easier way of reordering is sometimes through feminine rhyming. What is feminine rhyming? That is adding ing towards the end. So for instance, say it is raining and my heart is aching. Now look, rain and ache do not rhyme, but it is raining, my heart is aching, and the ing sound kind of rhymes it. Or say my heart is paining. So rain pain merges, rain pain rhymes, and also when I say that it is raining, my heart is paining, so it rhymes. Now add an introductory line or a concluding line to give your poem a shape and a sense. You can add both. Now, when you are writing a poem, it's like an answer. So just as in an answer you always write an introduction and a conclusion, here you do not always have to write an introduction and a conclusion. You can just choose one. That is, a poem is like a what should I call it? It has a shape like that of the eye. So it has a shape where the beginning or the end kind of brings together whatever you wanted to say. For instance, look, we have talked about benches, we have talked about so many things, and yet these things are diverse. Like benches and games, they do not go together, right? So these are all forming one experience, and if we have to talk about that one experience, we have to talk of it in a way that summarizes all of it, right? So this coming together, this merging together has to be done either in the introduction or in the conclusion, or you can give both depending on your sense and your sensibility. Now you will have to alter the punctuations, because look, here we have all concluded all of the sentences with a full stop. Now in a poem, in every line you cannot put full stop because that does not sound good. So you will have to alter the punctuation marks, and here you will have to understand that a comma gives a lesser pause than a full stop, a dash creates a continuation, a semicolon gives a sense of continuation but a smaller pause, whereas a colon gives a sense of continuation. That is, you are saying one argument and there is a corollary argument to that, and if you want to talk about the secondary argument after having spoken about the first argument, then you will have to put a colon in between. So that's the beautiful thing about it. Okay, so alter the punctuation marks based on your sensibility to make more sense of the poem. Now look, step 5, write it down without your chosen words. For instance, we had tiffin, backbench, friends, games, classes, nostalgia. Now I have omitted those words and I have just written down the sentences, changing the punctuation marks and also changing the sentences, altering the sentences a bit. So now look how it looks. Sharing tiffin made stronger bonds, making memories at the backbench with friends, kind of rhymes. Friends who stand by, and then look, I have put a dash. So I am continuing the sense. Friends who stand by throughout your life, games built mutual trust among strife. Learning about the world in the classes seemed cool. Nostalgia, thy name is school. So look, it has rhymed. I could have written in unrhymed verse and still it would have made sense. But since many of the students I have seen in my teaching experience that many of the students love to create rhyming, so I have created a very simple sentence, a very simple poem with rhyming. And now look, the last sentence, nostalgia, thy name is school. This kind of sums up what I wanted to say, because I am remembering my tiffin, I am remembering my experiences at the backbench, I am remembering my friends, I am remembering my games, I am remembering my classes. All of these are being remembered, and the last sentence, nostalgia, thy name is school. These remembrances create a sense of nostalgia in me. So nostalgia, thy name is school is a brilliant way of talking about these things. Now look, here the last sentence creates a conclusion for the poem. It brings the poem together. Now, I could have given it a title. I haven't deliberately. You should give it a title. You must give it a title. You can give it a title like My School, which is a very simple, straightforward way of saying it. Or you can call it School Memories or whatever you like. But give it a title. Do give it a title, because your poem deserves a title. Alright. Now, step 6 is the most important step. Keep on trying different subject matters and keep practicing. Alright. The more you practice, the better you will be in writing poetry. Try simple subjects, learn the trade, and then keep on practicing with subjects which are more complex. You can talk about love, you can talk about death, and who knows, maybe someday I'll meet you somewhere where you'll be an established poet and I'll be in the line taking your autograph. So, with that, I'll conclude this lecture. So, you see, writing poetry is very easy. You can write a poem with practice in just 5 minutes. Just 5, not more. Writing a small poem is very easy. When you will grow up and when you will decide to write larger poems, poems of greater impact, then do come and meet me and we shall talk about it in greater detail. How does a large poem differ from a small poem? Alright, and this is the last thing that I have to say to all of you. All the best. Have a great poetic experience. Remain in poetry. Thank you so much.